Hi, happy National Poetry Month. To celebrate, we have J.K. Roche reading a selection of her poems. Please enjoy.
The Woodsman. I loved a man who loved the law. We built a life near the seashore. We took a trip to the North Woods. We walked the trails. I understood. Deep within him, he loved the woods. Moist, wet mushrooms, bogs, sweatshirt hoods. And in that place, cathedral trees swayed with the winds, singing sweetly. 5 miles or more a man could think, boots in the dirt, 2 dogs in sync. On frozen lakes the wolves did howl, devoured deer on wildlife prowl. Then winter gave way in black of night, the twinkling stars and northern lights flirt with the soul and stirs the wild to mate and fight and reconcile. And we two then re-became one in garden days and midday sun. There in his eyes the twinkling stars, the ravenous wolf, forest breeze, a summer balm. I found my love in truest form, upon the wind in deep woods born. Ode to his bride. Over book and coffee I recall the man and his land. It was his and his bride's. Her flowers, his sawmill, and all the life long they built upon it. Memories in each season, 40 years, back 40, their love woven into and upon that ground. I, as a bird of flight, a loon upon the water, marveled at the story of the woods. In his labored breath, sweet with nostalgia, his love returned every spring. In the garden she had planted, her spirit, life over death, remained. She would not leave him nor the land, until now that he was ready to redeem himself and make the journey. She understood clearly his hesitation, as she had understood all along. He knew every trail, animal and tree. He brought her plums and apples, children and dogs. She loved his face. He loved her warmth. He needed it now. As the autumn leaves dropped and the icy wind blew upon the man and his land in his final winter. Girl of the Lake. There was an imperative to be with the lake, on a blanket, pen in hand, fishing for words. In the morning fog, alone with the loons and God above, I think to myself, this peace is to live for. The rising sun casts spotlights on trees and fresh water currents. Birds and fish arise. It is a new day. My soul is stirred. I am a sister to the water lilies, open and ready. I am a girl of the lake. Logging camp. Our clothes were frozen. By nightfall I wanted my bed, but hot food more. Then sleep, sleep, dead tired, no dreams, just the reverberating of my axe times 100 in my head. In 10 minutes flat, not a sound, except our clothes dripping, drip, 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 onto the floor, the fire and inferno, and Jimmy's snore that drowns out the rest. Old and young, we're the best. Couldn't do what we do if we weren't, but we are. That's the truth, I swear. Raw and wild, wool and woods, we are wolves, eagles, oxen, deer, brothers, lumberjacks. Tomorrow we'll cut, climb, dig in deep, let go and slide, we'll hook, cable, and generally make a racket in the pristine trees. But now I smell bacon and bread, good things coming from the cook shanty from morning. The wind picking up, my aches winding down into the slumber of camp. Sistine. It began here with a girl on a lake, long blonde strands flowing on Star Lake Beach, climbing into a yellow kayak with golden late autumn sun bronzing her high smiling cheeks. A push off and she is Pocahontas, gliding through the breeze, mastering adventure, clearly, crisply, reflected like the water in her topaz iris. To love a daughter is forever. She has made her way into the larger lake. The launch was mine, the life is hers. Benoni House. When the shadows of night fade, softly I walk through the rooms of the old house, listening for whispers, yawns and creaks, bones awakening in sweet breezes, fluttering through curtains, coffee aroma leading me blindly to the cold tiles of the kitchen floor, where ever so humbly I light the fire of day. Take a breath. All is gray in the world. In will I overcome. The ghosts and mayhem, troubled waters engulf my shores, all the while my eyebrows knit and perspire, fear coursing through my veins, consuming and affixing my attempts to steady my course. O enemy, surely these icy winds destroy, but do not forget I am standing still at the helm. I choose life and liberty and accept the risk to breathe. Wanda's husband. Grief slapped me. Though I knew the sun would set without you, how can the birds still sing when everything has changed? The wind may blow me away, what do I care for tomorrow's drama and things wild and noisy? The heart is a buttercup, a raging river. Only love knows for sure the secrets of death and life. In the wind I remember you, my hair tossed, shredded, never knowing where I stood. Oops, I have to start this one again. 3 years ago. In the wind I remember you, my hair tossed, shredded, anxious, like I was with you, never knowing where I stood. It is spring. Even the geese have their little dramas, carrying on, fighting, taking sides, winners and losers. As I walk past, nerves on edge, stuck like my boots in this March mud, the mountains breaking down from heavy rains, washing away what it took years to build. The rivers rise and fall. It is natural, the give and take, to laugh and cry, to take the time to remember. My sailboat life. Born in the strong state of New York, I launched into domestic waters, filling my heart with possibilities and wonder. I shifted at the stern and made my way over rivers, lakes, sounds, and distant shores with all peoples, like a fan, spreading far and wide, turbulent seas, heartbreaking, injuring me and others. While the ship recovered and learned, I held my breath and waited. I leaned to the next sunrise. Smooth, sparkling breezes bathed my face, warm with the love of the water, like children and old men wrapping their arms gustily. The boat filled and rocked and tilted to one side and then the next in the quest of the voyage. Laughter like the merry old song of sailors draped the sails, propelling the years. Bright red paint fading into the honeyed claret of sunsets. In the quiet days I rest assured, listening to the waves lap gently, drinking hot, steaming, watery coffee, and cruising. for the sheer joy of it, and still gathering momentum for the course, giving lessons now in the harbors, telling stories. Georgia's Stay. Sliding into silken sheets, a warm peach breeze holds my gaze, ever so slightly, linens sway, cotton and clean, soft like the evening whispers in the other room. A day in a lifetime of love bunched up like a peony budded, a parachute ready to open in buttery softness. The house exhales as the charcoal black summer night sleeps. I am the mountains. The morning fog draws me out. I sit barefoot on the front porch steps. The dew kisses my lashes and asks nothing of me. Pink and blue sky break through. I listen to the whippoorwill chatting, tiny chatting between friends far off over the mountain. The air is wet and warm and kind, fresh and sweet and familiar, like mother's milk. I am cradled and held. I think of my kin tethered to the hollow, carving out a living out of black rock, our lifeblood in those ghost mines. I cringe when the rains come, floods the rivers, the thick brown mud sliding down the pike displacing us. But mostly I admire the view while I'm hanging laundry, running after children feeding us from the garden. I am my mother's mother and my son's son, and I am home. I am the mountains. Trees. The trees are so old, they have seen so much of winters old and summers hot. They are budding, prospering, and growing. They have seen the faults of humankind. They have also seen the accomplishments of mankind. The trees have seen destruction and death. The flowers and mountains and rivers are their friends. The trees dance in the wind at God's name. Their cries ring through the mountains. The trees weep. They hear cries of pain and terrible lies. They feel the pains of the world. The trees only live because of God. They go to God for peace, for love, for care, for protection. God always gives peace, always loves, always cares, always protects. Like the trees, we are certain to go to God for all those things, as God is our Heavenly Father. He loves us so, more than the trees.